Hello everyone, thank you for joining me today. My name is JRDukes with JRDukes.com. I am your personal advice guru, your relationship expert, and I am here to motivate you to live your best life starting today. I do appreciate you joining me. Today we're going to get right into it. We're going to be talking about how do I protect my personal residence. First, you have to remember that although I am a patriot, we live in the most litigious society since the great Roman Empire. The United States literally has millions of lawsuits filed every year. You must take action to make sure that your home is protected ahead of time, ideally before a lawsuit is ever a problem or a pending issue. Now, I want to be clear. For the purpose of this video, I am not talking about how to protect your personal residence from a foreclosure or how to protect your personal residence from a spouse. That is something that I'll address in another video. The first thing we're going to talk about is what's called the Homestead Exemption. Now, a Homestead Exemption, just so I'm very clear here, I'm not talking about the tax deduction or the tax break you get in a lot of states because it's your homestead. That's a tax homestead exemption. What I'm talking about is a liability homestead exemption. Basically, each state has a certain amount that they will protect of your residence in the event that it's foreclosed on by a creditor. For example, some states, like I believe it's Pennsylvania and New Jersey, they don't protect anything. Your whole house is at risk. On the other hand, you have states like Florida and Texas that have an unlimited amount of protection that they provide to your home. The great news is, in the state of Florida, you can protect an unlimited amount of your home's value from your creditors simply by being a Florida resident. You are protected as far as your equity in the home goes in an unlimited amount. This is a fantastic way to protect your money from a judgment creditor. The second way that you protect your homestead is with a LLC, limited liability company. You can simply take your residence and put it into a limited liability company. For those of you that do not know what an LLC is, an LLC is simply a limited liability company. You can take a home that you have purchase or you're about to purchase, and you can simply transfer it to a limited liability company. I will tell you, this is definitely not my ideal way to protect your home. A lot of movie stars, a lot of public individuals, they will put their property into a limited liability company. The main goal in that situation is basically privacy. Now, privacy does afford you some asset protection in the sense that it is hidden from the eyes of your creditors. It's not that it will stay hidden forever. It's just the fact that if it's out of sight, it's out of mind. So you can put your property into an LLC, but there is some problems with this particular strategy. First of all, if you put it in an LLC, you're going to have to structure the LLC in such a way that there's a reason for the property to be in there. In other words, there has to be a real viable business interest. If I was giving you advice on putting your property into an LLC, I would tell you, make sure you rent out a room in your home. Make sure you rent out 2 or 3 rooms in your home. Make sure that the LLC is conducting some kind of legitimate business at your residence. All right, the third way that you can protect your personal residence from judgment creditors is simply by a technique that we call equity stripping. It goes by many different names, but in general, what you're doing is you take any of the money that you have in your home, which we call equity, and you basically find a way to get the equity out of the home. Basically, in this scenario, debt is your friend. You can have somebody basically find a way to take a lien out on the property. There's many different techniques to do this that I'll be talking about in subsequent videos. All right, and then the fourth way that we can save your home from creditors and protect your personal residence is with what is called a Domestic Asset Protection Trust. It's otherwise known as a DAPT. A DAPT, the Domestic Asset Protection Trust, is something that is allowed in a certain number of states. It's not something that can be done in all states. Depends on the state that you live in. Since It's similar to just a regular trust, except it's got special provisions and special protections depending on the state that you're living in. It is worth checking out depending on the state that you live in. If you live in a state other than, say, Texas and Florida, my favorite way that you can protect your residents from creditors is by the use of what I call a grantor trust. I have personally used this vehicle myself with great success in protecting a personal residence. It's not bulletproof, but it is much better than keeping the property in your personal name. Before you put your personal property in your personal name, you need to stop and think. The grantor will simply take his property, put it into an irrevocable trust. It's extremely important that you understand. It cannot be a living trust where it's revocable. It has to be a type of trust that is irrevocable. If it's not irrevocable, it will not protect you from your creditors. For example, you can hold the trust asset, which is your personal residence, for the benefit of a third party. I generally would recommend that you hold it for the benefit of your children or of some other third party person that you want to make sure is taken care of after you're gone. All right, the next one, number 6, take the property, your personal residence that you're trying to protect from creditors, and put it in the name of your spouse. This I really strongly do not recommend. I just want to put it on the list. I don't know what your particular situation is. There can be a rare case where this might be advisable, but generally speaking, I would worry much more about divorce than I would about a creditor coming after me. Now, moving on to the next point, which is my favorite point, is you can move to the great state of Florida. This is a fantastic option if you are trying to protect your personal residence from judgment creditors. Florida is a superior state and what I call the most debtor-friendly jurisdiction in the world. You can move to Florida after a lawsuit has started. You can take money that would otherwise not be protected from your creditor, and you can buy a Florida homestead, move into that homestead, and on day one that you move into that homestead, your money is now a protected asset and cannot be taken from you. As long as you stay clear of bankruptcy court, at least for 4 years in the state of Florida, you won't have any problems. Okay, so Article 10, Section 4 of the Florida State Constitution specifically exempts your Florida homestead from levy or execution by any creditor. It is truly one of the best debtor laws in the world, not just the country. Once you own a Florida homestead, it is always your homestead. You don't have to worry about losing it because of some misfortune that you just did not see coming. The closest thing to a sure thing in this world is to move to Florida and purchase yourself a Florida homestead. Now, one important thing that you need to remember is before you buy a property in Florida, you need to make sure whether or not the area that you're moving to is incorporated or unincorporated. Remember, the rules are vastly different for an incorporated area or an unincorporated area. For example, right behind me here is an unincorporated area, and you can have up to 160 acres that are fully protected by the state constitution of Florida. On the other hand, if we just turn around this way, this is part of an incorporated municipality here in Florida, and you are limited to a half acre. So you want to be careful when you buy a property and make sure it does meet the requirements. I appreciate you joining me today. I'd like you to do me a favor and please like and subscribe, and I would like to hear from you down below in the comments. Please give me some honest feedback. Do you like these videos? Do you not like it? What do you like? What do you not like? What videos would you like to see? Do you have a question for me? Is there a question I can answer for you? I'm here for you. You can simply reach me anytime at ReachJRDukes@gmail.com. And remember, I'm here to help you. You need advice? You have a question? I'm here for you. I appreciate your time today. Thank you.